Enchanted. And today we are talking about chaos and ambiguity. It takes me just a few seconds here to get all of our tech lined up. So I am doing that right now. And I think that we are good to go. Happy Sunday to all y'all magic makers out there. Anybody on the West Coast who might be crawling out of bed. It's 10 a.m. where I am. So bright and early for you. We wrapped up our 5-day journaling class and challenge this last week. It ended on Friday, and there were so many amazing shares and aha moments and takeaways. I'm just pulling up my app here so that I can watch the comments over there. This all takes me far too long these days to get everything sorted out. Here we go. And there is one thing, though, that will kill everything that you did last week, and that's chaos and ambiguity. So I'm going to talk about that. And as I see some good mornings and hellos rolling in here, I'm going to put my phone down so I can watch it. I forgot my webcam, so I'm looking a little grainy today, but it's all good. It's all good. In our comments, we have the lovely Christina Boos, who is moderating, answering questions today. And Christina might very well be the only person here for this. And I want to apologize to anybody who came looking for a live stream yesterday on Saturday at 2 p.m. Funny, well, it's not funny, but we have like a schedule of things. And I had that live stream and this one on the schedule, but didn't verbally communicate it to anybody. And I thought, no one's probably going to look at this but me. And Christina, who always goes above and beyond, did look at it and put it on the schedule. So I apologize. That was totally my bad that we did not have a live stream yesterday. After our Salem event, I got home late Friday evening. There was extra traffic, as there is in the summer in our New England neck of the woods all the time, especially on Fridays. And yesterday, I just laid low and zonked the entire day. Is that a thing? Zonked? Because that's what I did yesterday. So we're here fresh and ready to go today. Now, one of the things that I see happen with folks when they do one of our challenges or, just any class, really, even our classes like Holistic Witchery, which is open for registration. We've already had a whole bunch of people join us. So if you're on the fence, get your patooties in there because it's a great time to join. We'll be in between sessions and we're going to do some extra goodness to help you get sorted out in your membership because you have a year's access to our membership with your registration and help you figure out where you should start and dive in. So it's a really, really good time to join this sort of in between because we have extra time to help get you sorted. Anyway, Teresa says, so grateful I joined Holistic Witchery. Yes, I will say that we have, hand to heart, over 800 people have taken Holistic Witchery, and we've never had negative, somebody say, I wish I didn't sign up. The things the things that become roadblocks for people are getting in your own way, feeling like you have to do everything and you are behind in some way. So that's, we try to guide with that's not the case for anybody. We don't believe that. So that is a hurdle. And then anything else that anybody gets upset with is usually having to do with their payments or something, not the content itself. So we only have people say, I literally don't know where I'd be without Holistic Witchery, or I have no regrets with joining Holistic Witchery. And over 800 people, we've not had one person say, I wish I didn't sign up for this. It's the information you're teaching is awful or not what you said or something like that. So we did, I'll say, have one person one time who was upset with us because we wouldn't look at every single thing she wrote down about the class. We were like, there's 600 pages of material. Share it in the group and we'll give feedback, but we can't one-on-one email you all the things. Anyway, I digress. Register for Holistic Witchery. But the thing that will trip you up, and this is sort of what I was coming back to saying in the beginning, is chaos and ambiguity. It is the thing that will get in your way no matter what you're trying to do, whether it's going through the 5-day free journal class or doing the 5-day free journal class on your own, like a month from now, or finishing Holistic Witchery, or trying to learn how to manage your relationship with money. Like whatever that is for you, chaos and ambiguity are the things that will be they'll be a big stop sign that pushes you off of your momentum track and you fall over and have to start again every single time. So what are chaos and ambiguity? What do they have to do with anything? Well, chaos happens to us when life happens to us instead of us being in alignment with the life we're creating, right? Instead of us working together with life, when we're allowing life to happen to us, that's when chaos happens. If you aren't prepared for the next morning, if you roll into the day and don't know what your intention is for the day, chaos. If you don't know what your intention is when you have to have a tough conversation with somebody and your emotions get the best of you, chaos. When we don't know what our intentions are, when we aren't skilled at setting intentions, true intentions, not one-off goals or things that we think should be an intention, when we aren't intentional, we don't know how to cultivate intention. We don't know how to be intentional. That's when chaos comes into play for us. The ambiguity part comes when we think maybe we set an intention, but we don't know why we set it. We don't know, like, is this because it's in true soul alignment with me, or is it because somebody else told me it's what I should do, or because I'm trying to prove my worth to somebody? So how many people maybe you get a job, maybe you have kids, maybe you don't, but like you do the things you're supposed to do because you think it's what would make you seem worthy. Maybe you try to you eat restrictively and diet to lose like 10 pounds that you really don't need to lose because you think that you will be more worthy in society or to some relative who loves to make weight comments. And so your intention is to be healthier, but that's not a true intention to you. So the ambiguity part is when we're not clear on our energy, when we're not clear on who we are, what we are in alignment with. And we don't always know that. I find myself right now in this moment very unclear on lots of things. But what I do know in terms of this ambiguity piece is I know what feels right and I know what doesn't feel right. I don't know the exact answers. I don't know exactly the path to take, but I do know what's feeling in alignment and what's not feeling in alignment. And I can start to ask myself questions around this and start to sort out that clarity, right? And this is that ambiguity piece. So chaos and ambiguity, they are the two things that no matter how many times you try to do something like the journaling class, or if you're in holistic witchery and you're going through the program, or you're just trying to cultivate intentions on your own or whatever that is, chaos and ambiguity will be the things that muck you up every single time. Now, here at the Sisters Enchanted, we teach things like working with the moon, we teach energy centers, we do tarot, and we do crystals, and we do all the things everybody loves. We do those things here, right? But even with those tools, they're just tools. They're just tools. And if you aren't clear about them, or if you're turning to them in a moment of chaos, they are more likely to provide more ambiguity or act as a crutch for you, which is why we teach what we teach in the way that we teach, loaded with lots of personal development, your own energy attached to it, lots of shadow work, and bringing you into the mix more than the tools. So it starts with you, and then you bring in the tools. Turning to tarot when you are very, very unclear about the way forward, I think, is actually not the best way to use tarot. We actually have a program where we teach people how to use tarot as a coaching tool because I feel so passionately about this. When you're unclear, right? When you're unclear, how is it that you can truly zoom out and find guidance in a tool that in and of itself is very unclear? There's 100 meanings to every tarot card. If you look at 100 tarot decks, you're going to have even more meanings because the illustrations are going to be different. The author's twist is going to be different. So coming to like this, okay, I see that I'm having resistance here. I'm not sure why I'm having resistance here. That's a very clear question. That's a very clear place to be. And then bringing in the tool as opposed to life is chaotic. I have no idea what's going on. I must get my pendulum out. I must get my tarot cards out. We start with figuring out what is chaotic. Where am I unclear? Because chaos and ambiguity are the things that I think we roll into more and more every day. Most of us start the day at some point in time. We don't have a clear intention, or, we turn on the news or something like that, that is driven by chaos. And we bring more of that chaos energy into our lives. Not to mention, we're living in a world of people who aren't particularly intentional. We aren't taught as kids to be intentional. We're taught to listen to what others tell us. We're taught to stand in line, raise our hands, and sometimes as a former public school teacher, for good reason, one teacher, 20 to 30 kids, you got to sit in your desk and you got to stand in line because I'm one person and there are lots of you. So I understand it, but we also aren't learning the skills to hear what we need. We're not learning the skills to hear our voices. We're not learning the skills to be intentional. And we're not learning to guide our own way through chaos and ambiguity because we're literally taught from a young age to let somebody else tell us what to do. So when we become adults and we find that, my life's okay, it's great, I should be very grateful. I am grateful for lots of things, but I feel like my spark isn't there. I feel like my fire hasn't been lit in 10 years. That's because we aren't used to trusting ourselves. We're not used to taking actions based on our desires, based on who we are and what's in alignment with us. We're used to living by somebody else's guiding principles. And all these other people around us who are not living intentionally, they are living with chaos and they are living with ambiguity just the same. And that's why it's so easy to for those things to take over for us. No matter what work you're doing in your life on yourself, no matter how many tarot cards you're using, what crystal grids you set, chaos and ambiguity, it's there at the ready all around us. All right, let's look at some of the comments I have over here because I saw some. I see lots of people just love for Sisters Enchanted. Thank you for sharing that with us. Let's see. One person sharing these skills can be taught at home, but they aren't. They can be. Yeah. The reality is most adults don't know how to live intentionally. Most adults, you go to work. Sorry, my ceiling makes an awful noise and it's doing it right now. It's the pipes. Most adults go to work and you have to listen to somebody else. You have to make your healthcare decisions based on what your health insurance will and will not allow. You have to make your food shopping decisions based on what's readily available to you in your neighborhood. Our world is not built for us necessarily to live intentionally in alignment with ourselves. And I'm a homeschool mom, so I very much agree this can be taught at home. I think for the vast majority of people, that's not something that's easily transitioned to, which is why I love what we do in Holistic Witchery, which is really bringing it into you, living your life in the hopes that, we make this ripple effect on the world and other people can see it and what it means for them, because it is so challenging. And yeah, it totally starts with us, and then we can teach it at home, and then our families live differently and our friends live differently and our coworkers live differently, and on and on and on and on. All right, let's see here. Marilyn's asking about live stream yesterday. Yes, Marilyn, I apologize. I had it on a schedule that I did not think that anybody else would look at, but Christina, being the amazing person that she is, did see it and scheduled it in. And I was like, wait, no, I wasn't actually going to do that one. We had our Salem event last week and I just plopped yesterday on the sofa and visited my grandmother, and that's about all I did yesterday. And we've got, let's see here, a pre-K teacher who tries to balance having kids listening to and the kids listening to and say how, I think it's how they feel or what they need. Yeah, it's totally a challenge. I mean, I was a public school teacher. I was a preschool teacher before that when I was in my training to be a school teacher. And I know what it's like. This is not specifically geared towards teachers, but I know what it's like to be one person, when you have many people to care for, or even as a business owner. I'm a business owner and I have people who work here, and the balance between like trusting in everybody's intentional way of being and everybody's emotions, and also having things that have to get done by a certain time. But I think that the more that we all start to live with intention, we change as people. We aren't as emotionally reactive. We relax expectation on other people and have more acceptance. And that's what this is all about, is really coming back to ourselves. But it's this chaos and ambiguity that's literally all around us. And right now in particular, we are living in a time that is more chaotic and ambiguous than ever. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You never know what the news story is going to be. You never know if you should be worried or if you shouldn't be worried. This person says you should, this person says you shouldn't. You don't know who to trust. All of these things are happening around us all the time. And it's more important now than ever to come back to yourself and understand what are your intentions for this life. Because whatever happens around you, I say this all the time as a business owner, it does not matter what happens around us with the economy, with the world at large. At the end of the day, my teammates need to put food on the table. I need to put food on the table. It's not enough for me to say, well, the world economy is in flux right now. I just don't know what's going to happen, because I have responsibilities. I have responsibilities to myself. I have responsibilities to our students. I have responsibilities to the community and to the people who work here. And it's no different for us, for everybody. But at some level, we get lost in this, well, I don't know if I should. I don't know if I shouldn't. Who knows who to believe? And right now, this is playing out in the worldwide in a very big way, but it happens in your day-to-day life all the time as well. You don't know how your coworker's attitude is going to be when you get there. You don't know how your spouse is going to be when they get home. But if you come back to what is your intention? Is your intention to live a life of freedom? Is your intention to feel healthy? Is your intention to have great relationships? Like whatever your intention is, if you know what that is, and you find that in every moment of chaos and ambiguity, you will see your way through it and do just the right thing that's aligned with you. And your journal practice that you cultivated last week can help you do that. The more you do it again and again and again, will really help you to solidify this in yourself and make it part of who you are. And of course, our Holistic Witchery program takes it much, much deeper, much, much deeper. Let's see here. And I see just some great comments here. Lucky to grow up with a granny who taught me to listen to myself, staying in a bad relationship and ignoring so many red flags, trashed it, having to relearn what my voice sounds like. Yeah. And that happens in bad relationships. It happens when you have maybe superiors at work who just put you down constantly. But like every time, right when you decide you want to quit, like they come around with, a compliment or something and you don't end up quitting. That happens to everybody at some time in some way. I know with me and having children, one of the things, I'm trained as a positive discipline parenting educator from my previous career. And so I'm hyper aware of how I talk to my kids, right? But that also in some ways has made me lose my voice as their mom. I did attachment parenting, very sensitive parenting style. And I also have to remember when I am the mom and when there is a hard and fast rule for some reason, and I can find myself losing my voice in there. In my marriage, I wouldn't say I lost my voice necessarily, but somewhere along the way, I felt like I had to do for everybody. And so I made myself lose my voice. It wasn't anybody else making me lose my voice. It was me and my own lack of boundaries to myself and holding them. And I lost my voice there and had to find it again. So in different ways, this happens for everybody. And we have to come back to what is my intention to help me see through this chaos and ambiguity? Let's see here. Someone sharing working class people in San Diego are trying to hold down panic mode. Hard to be intentional when the chaos surrounding us is way past our control. Yeah, I think, and that's being intentional with your thoughts as well, as when everything is outside of your control, where are you going with that, with those thoughts? Because your thoughts create your feelings. So what you're thinking, if you're thinking, there's no way I'm going to get out of this. I shared an email last week that I had when my daughter was born. I'll share a little bit of the story. My husband and I have both been self-employed so talk chaos and ambiguity. Let's talk that for a second. We're both self-employed for years now. I ran a different business and was a home remodeling contractor. But he would contract himself out to other contractors rather than bid on jobs himself. And we did not make much money. My business was very new. I started it when I was 7 months pregnant, and we were opting for a home birth, which I totally believe in. One, because our health insurance at the time did not cover maternity care, because at the time it was a choice to do that. So it wasn't covered. And so we had to pay for it out of pocket. And also because I was very healthy, there was no reason not to. I had great midwives and nurses in Connecticut. It's a very high standard for midwives in Connecticut. So I felt I had a model pregnancy. All was well. I went into labor was in labor for well over 30 hours at home and trying like crazy to push my daughter out. My husband and my sister Anna actually saw her hair at one point, and she would not come out, and her heart rate was falling, as happens in some pregnancies. Every time I had contractions, her heart rate would fall. When I stopped, it would go back up again. So the midwives eventually said, we're going to have to transfer you to the hospital. She's not coming out. And I mean, I tried so hard to get her out. So I got to the hospital. I'm like yelling at the doctors because I'm having an attitude problem. I was yelling at the EMTs, and we get in there, and I just asked everybody to leave me alone for a minute so I could think. No sooner did the doctors leave the room than they came rushing back in. Her heart rate had plummeted like really, really low. And my midwife, who'd been there with me for everything, saw it. And she said, no, Sarah, this is because I was, of course, being, I was being a Sagittarius with an attitude. And she was like, no, you need to listen to them right now. They flipped me over on all fours and started wheeling me out of the room and had me sign my C-section paperwork while we were moving. They're like throwing scrubs at my husband. Anyway, my daughter's born. My uterus tears open because I had pushed her down so low. She was non-responsive, and it took them 2.5 hours to sew me back up. They're calling for blood transfusions. The doctor's saying things like, I can't leave her this way. They couldn't sew part of it up because it had torn so wide and it was near other vital things. My daughter is in the NICU. It was a whole big thing. And here I am laying on this table with my arms spread out, coming in and out of consciousness, thinking about how I don't have health insurance and we don't make that much money, and wondering what on earth I was going to do. And that moment of chaos and ambiguity was the thing that changed everything else for me, because I survived that. My daughter survived. She's just fine. I had an infection a couple weeks later, had a hole in my uterus. We had to wait and see if it would heal on its own. Was in and out of the hospital with my infection, and I got over $100,000 of bills in the mail, over $100,000 in that first 6 weeks with my daughter in my lap, and just thinking, this is not awesome. This is super not awesome. And what I know to be true is that if I can survive that, I survived that birth. My daughter's okay. She had a huge hematoma on her head from me trying to push her out. She's okay, and she was okay within 12 hours of being born. And I was okay. And I got those bills sorted, and I got them cut down, and I eventually paid them off, the parts I did have to pay. She's a very expensive child, my daughter. I like to tell her that I could have bought a car, but I got her instead. And if I can survive that, there is no amount of chaos and ambiguity, that you can't get through. You can get through it. Finance, health, whatever it is, you can get through it. And the thing that makes it easier is being intentional, understanding your own energy, understanding what it is that you stand for, understanding there always is a reset, and that you are the one who's ultimately in control. Nobody else is. Nobody else is in control of your thoughts, of your feelings, how you move through chaos and ambiguity. You are. That's what I learned. And that is the thing that really made me see I wanted life to be different. And a few years later, The Sisters Enchanted was born. But you can do it. I know you can do it. No matter what life is dishing at you, you can do it. And I say that because not only did I have a master's degree, $50,000 in graduate school student loans, all those medical bills. And it is possible. Anything is possible if you know why it matters to you. If you know why it matters to you, that's when it's possible. If it's based on some societal thing, then that doesn't matter to you because it's based on what somebody else told you should matter. And that's what we teach here for you. And that's what's so powerful about what we do in Holistic Witchery, because it's about coming home to yourself. It's about remembering who you are. And I say living a life that's soul aligned, which chaos and ambiguity won't allow you to do, which is what happens to most of us throughout the day. And I don't say your soul's purpose for a reason, because I don't actually believe everybody has one soul's purpose. I think that I would have been just as happy being a stay-at-home homeschool mom of 10 kids as I am running a business. And if you look at, my birth chart, because we teach astrology also, you can see where all of this would make sense. But what's your purpose? My purpose is helping other people change their lives. That's my purpose. So no matter how I do that, as long as I'm doing that, then I'm living my purpose. Right? And that's what matters. It doesn't matter how I do it, but that's what's in alignment to me. Am I being of service? Am I living a life of freedom? I took this thing recently. It was like a leadership index. And out of 10, my highest scoring thing was a 9.8 freedom from authority. It was my highest thing on the index. So I don't like having somebody tell me what to do. We have a share over here. So understand, husband had over 200,000 bills with his cancer admission, had to pay 20% plus pre-planned funeral. Yes, all of that. And the universe has been so good with bringing those bills down. Yes, calm within the chaos begins with a few deep breaths. Yes, I totally get that. We still, as self-employed people, just this is a tangential little thing now, but one of the things that people, worry about most is money. And I can tell you that I did not grow up with money. My mom made $19,000 the year I was a senior in high school. She had $100 a week in child support for 2 kids, and I'm not that old. So, $19,000 is well below poverty level. I did not grow up with money. I grew up very much, like my mom used to joke at picnics, eat a lot. Don't know what we're going to eat what we have at home. There's nothing there. So eat a lot today. And we had a great, very supportive mom. But one of the things that I've had to learn as an adult with money is most of what we know to be true about money is simply not true. And there is a lot more you can do to find money, make money. And this isn't just all woo-woo crystal grids manifesting. It's really just understanding money, like getting all these medical bills from a hospital. There are a lot of things you can do about medical bills, a whole heck of a lot of them. And we live that right now. I had a bunch of medical issues last year. My husband has very high blood pressure, like very high. He has to go get it checked all the time, like constantly switching medications. And it's very, very high for a middle-aged dude. and it's one of those things that I'm just very intentional with and understanding, okay, well, what are the options here? What are the options outside the box that other people aren't telling us exist, but that certainly exist? And understanding that. All right, let's see here. I'm just going to check through some of the comments here. One person sharing, I'm a compromiser, the one who doesn't like controversy. So I found I lost myself because of trying to make situations happy for everyone else. Yeah, if you really aren't happy, eventually those other people won't either, because it will snowball, right? Until you're very unhappy and then everybody knows about it. So remember that. Bring that back to yourself. And someone else is sharing, I've had so many aha moments during the past week. Yeah, I did too. Reading comments from everybody, it just blows me away every single time. All right. So the thing I want you to take away from this long tangent life story of mine, my life story here about my medical debt, but I can tell you that when you've had a labor like I did, and I had more complications to boot. I mean, there was all sorts of little things, and it was so bad that the head of the hospital came in and chatted with me and was like, well, we've never had to, this has never happened. The things that happened to me had never happened before. It was unbelievable. So anyway, and chaos and ambiguity, though, knowing what I wanted and what I didn't want, what I would stand for, led me right here to a life that's more aligned and more free than it ever was before. So you can certainly see your way through. When you're thinking about what you learned in the journal class, I want you to consider this idea of chaos and ambiguity. Where is chaos and ambiguity hitting you in your life? Where is it hitting you? And how can you use what you learned in the journal class to see your way through that? Because the more that you can banish chaos and ambiguity and the more intentional you can be with yourself, the more power you will have, the more powerful you will feel. Your tarot cards, your crystals, all the stuff we do in fact teach. I know we're not teaching it here this week. We do teach all of that. That is more powerful and will work for you in ways you never imagined when you understand your intentions. All right. So now I have to drink some water, take a deep breath for myself. Holistic Witchery is open for registration. It's open for registration till Thursday. It's a beautiful time to join because we're in between sessions. We're having some transitions, some things we're doing a little bit differently towards the end of the year. So I highly recommend you get in now. And once registration closes next week, we have a special app group for new signups, so we can help get you oriented. You can find your way and introduce you to the membership, because you have 1 year's access to the membership when you register also, which has different themes every year. And this year's is stones, herbs, and stories. So we're learning about a crystal, an herb, and a story every month to bring into your magical life. And there are 9 previous pathways of lessons that you can dive into also. And we'll get you oriented with all of that next week, just as soon as registration closes. We'll wait for everybody to get in and do it all at once. Let's see. I'll do some more comments here. Some more came up. And the replays and all the videos for journaling class will be available for 1 more week through next Sunday over in the app. One person sharing, eyes are tearing. Husband and I are struggling so much right now trying to get our business off the ground. Finances have been so much on my mind. Words have helped. Yeah, I get that also. There's nothing quite like being a business owner and finances. There just isn't, because we don't have things like, at some point you do. I am now officially an employee of the Sisters Enchanted. So I technically have a boss who is myself. But you like health insurance, it's really expensive as a business owner. You just don't have all the things. You don't get paid time off, like disability, all the things. And when you have a family and you are putting all of your money into something, it can be nerve-wracking. But get good advice. Get some good advice. And any business advice I have would be to not go into debt for your business. That's always my top tip of advice. Don't go into debt for your business, because it's not worth it. And it's absolutely not worth it. And make sure you pay yourself first, always. I've been in that hole too, where I paid everybody else and there was no money left for me. And that was a lesson learned for sure. So pay yourself and don't go into debt for your business. But yeah, those hospital bills, those are killer. There's lots of things you can do though, with hospital bills, lots of things. So reach out to people that are experts in that, because you can certainly work around that. Jamie says, congrats on the position. Yeah, I know. Yes, I'm officially employed now. I'll get a W-2 and everything this year. So that should be helpful, because anybody who knows business taxes, oh my goodness, it's been killing me the last 2 years. This will help with that. All right, y'all, that is enough of my stories here. Chaos and ambiguity. Banish that right out. And I hope to welcome so many of you into Holistic Witchery. I promise you won't regret it. It's good stuff. All right. I will see y'all around. I'm going to pop on live a couple more times this week, and I hope you have a great Sunday ahead. Those of you who are in Holistic Witchery, not our newest students, but the students before this registration, I'll see y'all at noon, because I believe we have a Zoom chat. I'll see you then to talk about divination. All right, everyone. Take care. Bye.